Mason is the co-founder of SAFER. 2005, he coordinated citywide initiative to remove all penalties for possession of MMJ. He generated over 3 million of media coverage in 4 years. Let's hear it for somebody who really works hard within this industry, Mason Tvert.
Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for being here, and thank you Michael and Daily Buds and Kush for having me. Well, I guess, not to correct our moderator, but with regards to the Denver initiative that we did pass, it was actually an MJ legalization measure as opposed to an MMJ legalization measure. And that is really a good lead-in to what I'm going to talk about because, as many of you might know, I run an organization that does not work on medical-specific marijuana issues. And we have been very hands-off with regards to the whole process that's been going on here because it isn't our place to be stepping in and working on medical marijuana laws and regulations when that's not what our organization is ultimately pushing for. Now that said, I think that we do share the same overall objective, and that is to get people who want or need marijuana the products that they need. And in that, let me just give you a quick background about the organization that I co-founded and run, SAFER, Alternative for Enjoyable Recreation. SAFER is a nonprofit organization, so I'm one of the few people in this room not making money dealing with weed every day. We are a small organization. We only have 2 staff members, and we've basically only had 2 staff members for the last 5 years since we were founded. Our mission is very, very simple. And first of all, our vision, what we want to see here in the state of Colorado is a society in which marijuana is legal and available for all adults to use responsibly. Now, I know that many of you are currently working on this so that medical marijuana patients can use marijuana responsibly, but I hope that all of you will agree that it will be a fantastic day when you can simply open your door to any adult who would like to use marijuana legally. Very good to hear. There's been some talk of, oh, medical marijuana industry folks don't want marijuana to be legal because they're going to lose business. I don't know how on earth you could lose business by expanding your potential clientele by millions and millions and millions. So, with that said, don't worry about it. We're not out to destroy medical marijuana. We want the medical marijuana community and the industry to be able to help those patients in need, but at the same time, we also want to do away with marijuana prohibition in general because it is an absolutely absurd policy that does far more harm than good, and as we all know, marijuana does far more good than harm. So, how do we reach this system in which people accept adult marijuana use, the use of marijuana for medical purposes, and all the related issues? Right now, it's our belief that marijuana has been given a very bad name for a very long time. We've all grown up in a world where marijuana has been talked down upon as if it is dangerous and harmful and used by lowlives and used by the worst elements of our society and contributes to so many problems. And unfortunately, because it's been going on for so long and our government's been doing it in a somewhat compelling fashion for a while, many people still believe this. And that's why SAFER's mission is to improve the image of marijuana overall. Our goal is to educate the public about the very simple fact that marijuana is far safer than alcohol for people who use it and for people and for society in general. Now, this seems obvious, and some people would say, why alcohol? Why not pharmaceutical drugs? That's certainly a fantastic message in light of what many of you folks are doing. We all know marijuana is far safer than just about any pharmaceutical product out there. And that's a fantastic message I hope that you all are using in terms of talking about it, your businesses, your patients, and so on, and the fact that they're actually making a safer choice to use this natural medicine as opposed to some junk that's produced by some company. But we are talking about broader marijuana use. Now, as you all probably recognize, the biggest problem surrounding the image of marijuana and medical marijuana is that people think these medical laws are being abused. Oh my gosh, people who don't deserve to use marijuana or aren't sick enough or aren't, they want to use marijuana, and that's why there's so much hubbub, so many problems surrounding this. That's why the legislature is so concerned. That's why councils are banning this. That's why we see all these problems. It's because they still see marijuana as something that's just too harmful. And now they're starting to give a little in terms of acknowledging that it should be available for just these some people, but we really better make sure no one else gets it. Now, once we can get the powers that be to accept the fact that even if every adult in the state of Colorado gets it, we're not going to have any more problems than we would if they didn't, we actually would see fewer problems potentially in this state. And so that's what we do, is work to get this message out to people that when it comes to people getting intoxicated in this state of Colorado and in the country in general and around the world, we should not be prohibiting adults from making the rational, safer choice to use marijuana instead of alcohol if that's what they prefer. And so we've gone about this through a variety of tactics. Obviously, we do a lot of media work. You might have seen our campaigns, our projects on TV. We've done a whole lot of publicity stunts, if you will. We asked for marijuana lounges in the nation's airports. We asked Ricky Williams to come play in Denver because it would suit his marijuana use. We've done all sorts of things to really get people to think about the fact that right now it's perfectly legal to go and get sloshed in a bar before getting on a plane, and then they're going to ask you how many scotches you want once you sit down. We want people to think about, why are football players told that it's okay to endorse alcohol companies and it's okay to go out drinking after the game, but God forbid they want to sit at home and deal with their pain or their anxiety, or even just to party with marijuana instead. We need to address this because our society, our legislature, they embrace intoxication. Show me one person in that state capitol that didn't get elected by either taking money from the alcohol industry or holding fundraisers and parties where alcohol was available. Every single one of them. They accept the fact that alcohol is fun, as do I. We enjoy using alcohol. We're glad it's legal. There's no problem with that. People like to go to happy hour. People like to drink at a wedding. People like to go out to bars with their friends. People like to toast the bride and groom. It's just part of our society. We need people to understand that marijuana is no different. So that not only is it ridiculous that people can't use it for medical purposes, but it's ridiculous that people can't use it in general. Now, one of the major ways we've gone about this, as Michael mentioned, is through ballot initiatives. We ran the initiatives here in Denver in 2005, which removed all penalties under city ordinance for marijuana possession by adults, and in 2007, which designated adult marijuana possession the city's lowest law enforcement priority. We also ran the statewide initiative here in Colorado in 2006, which was, unlike the other two, not successful in the traditional sense that it did not win. It gained 41% of the vote, but we had a statewide discussion about this substance and what it actually is, because quite frankly, not enough people know. If any of you went to these hearings in the legislature and heard some of the bullshit that these people were saying about marijuana, oh, it's going to lead to addiction and it's going to kill people and lung cancer and they're going to go psychotic. I mean, these people have no idea. We actually turned in a state initiative this year, which we have yet to see if we'll be running, but we turned something in, and they actually had the gall to ask what the difference between a flowering and a non-flowering plant was. Flowers? These people have no clue what they're talking about. We need to make sure they understand what we're talking about. And they can relate to the whole concept of alcohol being something that they just enjoy using. They need to think about marijuana that way. So we've run these ballot initiatives. We passed a couple. We still see the city arresting people. It's gone down slightly and leveled out, but I don't know, I would assume most of you agree that one citation for marijuana possession is one too many. We need to do away with these. It's ridiculous. We're hurting people's lives. We're also not just hurting people, we're also steering them towards using other substances instead of marijuana that cause far more harm, particularly alcohol. What's very important about the work we've done here in Colorado is over the 5 years since SAFER started, we have seen dramatic growth in the amount of support for making marijuana legal and treating it like alcohol. In Denver, our first ballot, let me start actually with Colorado. As I mentioned, in 2006, we ran a ballot initiative that got 41% of the vote. Quite frankly, that was great. We wanted to break 40%. We only spent a couple $100,000 on the entire thing. We had 2 paid staff members. We were thrilled with 41% of the vote. At this point, we're now seeing polls showing that there is 50%. in the state of Colorado. The latest poll, the Rasmussen poll that was done here, found that it was 49 to 39. Now, the latest poll in California